just a little bit of fun. It's just a bit of dawah. I had an individual once when I gave the Islamic perspective of Halloween, and one of the brothers asked the question that if there is a Halloween party or something, are we allowed to go? And I said it's impermissible for you to go to it because it's based upon pagan traditions, and you are partaking in the pagan belief, and there is alcohol and drinking and free mixing, etc. there. The individual that was there, he said, no, you are allowed to go. You are allowed to go because you should go there and give da'wah. People are drinking alcohol, getting intoxicated, doing all sorts of haram, and we're going to be there, mentioning the name of Allah. Ajib. This is the environment that we are living in. This is the reason. So these people, the Druids and all of these individuals that were there, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has told us what? In the collection of Imam Bukhari, that you will be with those whom you love. You will be with those whom you love. So who do you want to be with? Who do you love? The one that we should love is the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. More than ourselves, more than our parents, more than anything. The central point in our entire life. The central point of entire creation. The final prophet, and inshallah, Imam Adil will shed light on this topic of the finality of the Prophet ﷺ as a prophet. That can there be no prophet after the Prophet of Allah ﷺ. So it doesn't matter if some dude sitting on a toilet claims to be a prophet. Him claiming to be a prophet does not make him a prophet. He is a kafir, and all of his followers who believe it, they are out of the folds of Islam as well. This festivals and everything that you have, this winter solstice, which occurs from the 20th of December, and they would burn these logs of Yuli. They would do this, it was all based upon superstition. And we as Muslims, we do not believe in superstition. Because every single thing that occurs, it only occurs by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Without the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a single little leaf would not blow in the wind. We would not be able to have a breath. Everything is there because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordained it. We do not believe in superstition. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the hadith which can be found in the collection of Imam Muslim, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there is no transitive disease, there is no ill omen, i.e. superstitions, and there is no rule. So the Prophet ﷺ is telling us here clear, none of these things exist in and of themselves. They cannot cause you any harm. So it doesn't matter how many versions of COVID Boris Johnson introduces to hide what he's doing in the background. Whatever comes forth, whatever type of virus and new variant comes forth, it cannot harm you unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen you to leave this physical abode. Because He has chosen for you to leave this harmful abode and go to the next abode of goodness. So bear this in mind. When this stuff is all happening around you now, bear this in mind that we should not be participating in anything to do with superstition and anything to do with that which is contrary to the Sharia. Because if you participate in it, if you acknowledge it, if you greet them in it, by way of extension, you are agreeing with it. So protect your imans, protect your iman of your children, your loved ones, and stay away from that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, has forbidden. And inshallah, you will be successful in dunya and in akhirah. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا بَلَاغٌ مُبِينٌ وَصَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَى سَيِّدِنَا مُحَمَّدٍ وَعَلَى آلِهِ وَصَحْبِهِ وَسَلَّمَ تَسْلِيمًا كَثِيرًا. Inshallah, without further ado, I will ask our beloved scholar, our notable speaker, our brother in Islam, Imam, Sheikh, Adil Shahzad Sahab, to please step forth and shed light upon this very, very important topic that you have chosen to speak about. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us all to listen with khair and appreciate it and absorb this key message. So please focus, put your mobile phones away. If you want to make notes, I would encourage you to make notes, because this topic is of utmost importance in our creed, and it is that topic which is being attacked regularly. So inshallah, without further ado, I ask our notable scholar to step forth, inshallah. Narai Takbir, Narai Risalah, Narai Hadri, Ulamaya Sunnah. Just sit down, it's my fault.
الحمد لله الذي أبدع الأفلاك والأرضين والصلاة على من كان نبيا وآدم بين الماء والطين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ما كان محمد أبا أحد من رجالكم ولكن رسول الله وخاتم النبيين وكان الله بكل شيء عليما صدق الله مولانا العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك لمن الشاكرين والشاهدين والحمد لله رب العالمين ببركة إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما نرشد اللهم صل على سيدنا ونبينا وشفيعنا ومولانا محمد عبدك ورسولك ونبيك وصل على المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات. Each and every one of you join in as-salatu was-salamu alayka ya sayyidi ya Rasulullah wa ala alika wa ashabika ya sayyidi ya Habiballah. Salatu was-salamu alayka ya sayyidi ya Rasulullah wa ala alika wa ashabika ya sayyidi ya rahmatan lil alamin. One more time, please, Aban Khamosh Namahi. As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya sayyidi يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا خاتم النبيين رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم رسولا ونبيا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. After praising Allah Almighty Jalla wa'ala, Malik Kainat, Khalik Kul, Badi'u Samawati wal Ard, and sending infinite peace and salutations, durood and salawat upon the best of creation, the light of humanity, the purpose of our existence. Sayyidul Awwaleen wal Akhirin, Imam al-Anbiya wal Mursaleen, Huzur Jane Jana, Tajdar Medina, Rasul Akram sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Most honorable and respectable Imam al-Khatib Masjid Hada, Muhtaram al-Maqam Izzat Ma'ab, Maulana Hasnain Yaqub Sahib, Zida Sharfuhu, honorable and respectable elders, brothers and sisters, lovable youngsters, those who are mawjood and present at this moment in time here in the Lenten Muslim Center, or those who are watching live at this moment in time on social media. To each and every one of you, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Man lam yashkurin nasa lam yashkurillah, aw kama qala alayhi salatu wassalam. Riwayat mentioned in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. Ravi Sayyidina Nu'man ibn Bashir radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, Sahabi Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And who is Nu'man ibn Bashir? For those of you who don't know, he was the first child to be born from amongst the Ansar after the migration of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam from Makkatul Mukarramah to Al-Madinatul Munawwarah. The Sahaba Ikram became one of two groups, Ansar and Muhajirun. Muhajirun. So it'll be interesting to see what your level of knowledge is. I've given you the name of the Sahabi who was the first to be born amongst the Ansar. So my question is, Hamza, you come at the right time. Question time. What is the name of the companion who was the first child to be born from amongst the Muhajirun after the migration? जी सारे सुन्नी बैठे हैं ना, लेकिन पता लगना सुक्के सुन्नी, एक टनाटन सुन्नी है ना, सीना खोली था अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, we say we are from the Ahli Sunnati wal Jama'ah. Not like some people in the day and age that we live in today. Maulana often alludes to them. ये लोग हैं ना, वो आने जी बासा सीधे सादे मुसलमान, तू सीधा सादा ना, जो पहले आए सो डिंगे सा है, नहीं गल समझी. This is why we shouldn't be shy, or nor should we be embarrassed to say that we are from the Ahli Sunnati wal Jama'ah. ये हमारी पहचान है, ये हमारी आइडेंटिटी है ना. बहरहाल ये Sahabi from amongst the Muhajirun, the first child to be born, was Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Zubair radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma. You've heard of the Sahabi, yes? His father from amongst the Ashara Mubashara, Sayyidina Zubair ibn Hubbam radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and his mother is the elder sister and the eldest daughter, elder sister of al-Mu'mineen, Sayyida Tayyiba Tahira, Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anha, and the eldest daughter of Afdal al-Bashar Ba'd al-Anbiya bil-Tahqiq, Yare Ghar, Yare Mazar, Khalifa Awwal bila Fasal, Sayyiduna Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Yani her name Asma bint Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. She is the mother of Abdullah ibn Zubair. Bahral, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said what? Man lam yashkurin nasa lam yashkurillah. इसका सादा तर्जुमा ये है that he who is not grateful to the people will never be able to express gratitude to the Creator. The concept of shukr, which is something which is diminishing on a daily basis, because we become selfish people. In the day and age that we live in, where many of us are motivated by the number of likes we get on a post that we put on Facebook, or the number of followers we have on Instagram or Snapchat or TokTik. TokTik, is it? TikTok. Just to get the attention of the youngsters. We're obsessed now by numbers. And not just number of followers on social media, as Maulana alluded to, the number of cases every day, the number of hospitalizations. We're obsessed by numbers. So this has led to a state of selfishness. Me, myself, and I. But that's why they call it the iPhone, iPad, iPod. They don't want the Ummah to worry about what's happening to the Uyghur Muslims in China whilst they're being raped and placed in concentration camps. They want us to be worried about the perfect selfie. They don't want us to be concerned about what's happening to those in Syria and Yemen, or those in Indian occupied Kashmir. You might think he's going in hard straight from the outset. This is the reality. 6 months ago is free Palestine, free Palestine. Sare dorne gaya Westminster, myself included, against the status quo. No, it's not my usual habit. But we all went to Westminster, assuming that these protests and these convoys are going to make a difference. 6 months later, Where are those protests now? Where are those posts on Facebook and changing your profile DP picture now? Gallain sirf barha. Tamhidi guftagu hai. Jere aaye bhi na wo ek nasija. So I want to take this opportunity from the outset to express my gratitude to a colleague, a senior in ilm, in amal, in umar, Maulana Hussain Yaqub, Hafizahullah Ta'ala, for allowing this program to happen here at the Lenten Muslim Center. And bil khusus, this program organized by Brother Mohsin Ahmed, who, if I'm not mistaken, is arranging a program for the first time. Hopefully it won't be the last time. Don't be disheartened. The success of a gathering isn't measured by the number of attendees. Rather, the success of a gathering is measured by whether the truth is spoken or not. And whether dhikr Mustafa is done or not. And alhamdulillah, in the time that we have, we will no doubt remember the best of creation, the light of humanity, the purpose of our existence. Lajfa Nabi Kareem Rasool Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So as Maulana was saying, while some are busy watching reruns of Home Alone or Ice Age or whatever movies they put on at this time of the year, Allah has blessed you through the Karam Nawazi of Huzur Jane Jana Rasul Akram Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to be in the household. And this is nothing that you have done. My coming from Bradford is nothing that I have done. Rather, bi'idhnillah, by the permission of Allah, only with His grace and with His mercy, and this is possible. Barhal, before I continue, I will kindly request that those who are sitting at the back, who from here seem to be closer to Bradford than they are to Nottingham. Itna vadda majma hai na, itne dur baithe ho kyun? You want to give space to the people in the middle, and if it's not the people, then the malaika, you don't want to disturb them. So I'll kindly request that you come forward, inshallah. Don't worry, my bark is worse than my bite. Move forward, bismillah. The blessings of a gathering are at the front. You know this, right? Keep moving forward, keep moving forward. As you're moving forward, read the Rushdif. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina wa shafi'ina wa maulana Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And suddenly it looks full. Yes. I think this is my third or fourth time here over the last several years. The second time since Maulana has been in this position. And I remember once, not last time we quite well attended upstairs, the gathering regarding the signs of the last hour, Ghaliban it was. Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, a series of lectures that you organized, if I'm not mistaken. The time before then, it was the Urs of Hazrat Khwaja Gharib Nawaz, Sultanul Hind, Naib Rasul Ata'un Nabi, Hazrat Khwaja Sayyid Mu'inuddin Ajmeri, Sanjari Rahmatullahi Ta'ala alayh. And ibtida mein itne log sir. Lekin by the end of the gathering, the number had at least double, if not triple. Why? Because there was langar at the end. Subhanallah, aapne ho. Thakke ho bashak hai. Itne ghaliban langar hai, lekin packed food for you to take home. Some of you might be lucky, you might be able to take 2 or 3 boxes with you tonight. That's tomorrow sorted, and maybe when Mrs. is out doing the Boxing Day sales on Sunday, usne bhi kam bani jasi na. But joking aside, as it's been mentioned, tonight's topic of discussion in the limited time that we have is in relation to one of the fundamental aspects of our creed, and that is in relation to the finality of the prophethood of Rasul Akram. Sare bolo sallallahu. Maza nahi aa raha, bande thore, lekin that shouldn't deter you from taking part. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. और ये जो मौजू है ना, as Maulana has already alluded to, is of the utmost importance. The importance of discussing this topic and this mawzu cannot be emphasized enough. Because they're living in a day and age where constantly hamla is being done upon Aqidah Khatm Nubuwwat. Not just in Mulk Pakistan, khas over the last several years, with Article 295C within the Constitution of Pakistan, our motherland. But also here in the West as well, Fitna Qadian, Mirzai, Ahmadis, whatever you want to refer to them as it's already been mentioned, and I will emphasize again that our position is clear. There is no blurred lines in regards to what we deem Qadianis as. They are nothing less than kafir. They are nothing less than Bolo bolo, they are nothing less than Mazani Ayafir bolo, they are nothing less than Worryingly, and I will tell you a few of the experiences that I've had over the last several years, but most recently last weekend I was in Croydon, South London. Stayed the night after a program in Tooting, and in the morning we had a discussion with one of the brothers who's quite active there, Muhtaram Khalid Javed Sahab, and he quite concerningly told me that the markaz of Qadianis at this moment in time in the UK is Croydon, and they are portraying themselves openly as Muslims, unchallenged. One, because there is a lack of knowledge amongst the orthodox mainstream Muslims, be that from the Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah or otherwise, but also the fact that they've been able to infiltrate government circles, community circles, quite active in every aspect and regard. And this is just one example. What you might be oblivious to, and I don't know what the severity of the situation here in Nottingham is, but certainly in Bradford. In Bolton a few months ago, yehi mawzu si Milashi na program, Masjid Quba, an hour and a half, Sare-Am, Wazit or mentioning our Aqidah in relation to the finality of the prophethood of Rasul Akram. We're getting there, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And afterwards, one of the brothers who works for the funeral service, Tawajjuh se suno. Ye nani chal hai na? This is the depth of the issue. One of the brothers who works for the funeral service in BCom in Bolton, he approached me afterwards. I won't mention his name because this program is being streamed live on Facebook. And he came to me and said, Imam Sahib, what you mentioned is just the tip of the actual issue. I talked about this radio station that they've opened in London, Voice of Islam they've called it. So people are again oblivious to what they're doing, their tactics, their ploys. But he says to me that a couple of weeks ago, an individual from Manchester contacted him saying that a family member had passed away and they wanted to acquire some land or a plot in the Qabristan in Bolton. 5-10 minute conversation in regards to how he died and circumstances and so on and so forth. Right at the end, this brother who heads the funeral service in Bolton, he says to him that, what denomination are you? What sect are you? What firqa are you? And he said that I'm Qadiani. There and then, this brother who is quite clued on, says that we can't accommodate you. We can't accommodate you. So the guy on the other side of the phone changed his tune, said that if that's the case, then I'm going to speak to the leader of the council in Bolton, and you'll be hearing from me. Thankfully, this individual who's been quite active in Bolton for a number of years has already had them conversations and is already 2 steps ahead. But now it's happening, and where in Bolton they were able to stop it from happening, in Bristol it's come to my knowledge that Qadianis are being buried in the same Qabristan as Muslims. In Bristol. And again, our people are oblivious. They think that this is an issue related to a certain area in Uttar Pradesh, India, northern India, or this is an issue that affected the Muslim Ummah 100, 150 years ago, and that's it. Now every year we can have our Aqidah Khatmi Nabuwat conference at a certain masjid or wherever it is, and that's enough. No. The goalposts have changed over the last decade or so. Not in terms of, or not just in terms of the examples that I've cited, but in terms of literature. And you know this, the Muslim advisor to David Cameron, ex-Prime Minister of this country, the Muslim advisor was who? A Ghair-Muslim Qadiani. So again, people don't understand the severity of the situation. So it's not just in the Indian subcontinent, it's not just in Pakistan, but here in the West as well. This issue in relation to preserving Aqidah Khatmi Nubuwwat, no doubt, is of the utmost importance, and we need to understand the severity of this particular discussion. So what does Khatmi Nubuwwat mean? And this is the Arabic for the term finality of prophethood. Finality of? Bolo na, Prashan nazar aa raha hai, I've not said anything yet. Finality of prophethood. And this aqidah, this da'wah, this claim is of two folds. Very important that we process this part of the discussion. That this aqidah of ours, which as we mentioned is fundamental, is of the utmost importance, it's a khasasiyat we need to appreciate, is of two folds. The first part is what? That our belief is, without doubt, that Tajdar Madina Rasul Akram sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the last and final messenger and prophet of Allah, Sayyiduna wa Nabiyyuna Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, is without doubt the seal of the prophets, the last and final messenger and prophet of Allah. Ye pehla hissa hai, al-juz al-awwal. And the second part, al-juz al-thani, is what? No other messenger and prophet will come after him. And this is where the issue lies. Because there was a Deobandi scholar, I don't know if I can mention this on your platform, saying that I've heard some of your recordings, and you're a hybrid version of me, which is good to see. Qasim Nanotwi, in his Tahzirun Nas, or Chapi Bigalni, the original Urdu text is available, which has also been translated as well into English, that he made the suggestion at the same time, Mirza Ghulam Qadian, the clown of Qadian, was going through the different levels. First he started off as an alim, and then a mujaddid, and so on and so forth. Bakat Koni, no, do I want to go down that discussion? Varna, an hour and a half will be at least 3 hours. But this individual made the suggestion in his Tahzirun Nas, Sari'am, that if somebody was to come, the root of the issue, that if somebody was to come after the Prophet ﷺ and claim to be a prophet of Allah, ma'adallah, then this will not affect Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam being Khatamun Nabiyyin. Meaning he is still the seal of the prophets, but there is the possibility, the imkan of somebody coming after and declaring prophethood, thereby opening the door of imkanul nubuwwah, the possibility of prophethood. And when the clan of Qadian came across this, that was exactly what he needed to make his full-fledged claim ma'adallah of being a prophet of Allah. So this fitna in the Indian subcontinent, khas to the consequences of it, and the guilt of the actual issue lies with the ulama Deoband. Ulama Deoband. This is one of the many numerous countless issues that we have in terms of differences between the Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah and them, those who have just been mentioned. This is why, coming back to the discussion, da'wah is what? Claim is what? The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is the last and final messenger and prophet of Allah. And no other messenger or prophet will come
after him.
No other messenger or prophet will come
After him.
And just to make this even more clear in our minds, just as there is no doubt in La ilaha illallah. Is there any doubt in this? No. Is there any doubt in this?
No.
Nothing about book material. Is there any doubt in this?
No.
That's better, good. There's nothing to be scared of. Freedom of speech. So just as there is no doubt in La ilaha illallah, in the same way there is no doubt in the words La nabiyya ba'dahu, that there is no prophet after him, yani referring to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And these words have reached the level of tawatur. Those of you who are familiar with your discussions in usul al-hadith, so on and so forth, will know that after the verses of the Quran, the highest level of any textual daleel is the level of hadith tawatur, hadith mutawatir, that which has reached the level of mass transmission. So these words of Rasul Akram sallallahu alayhi wasallam and certain other ahadith mubarakah have reached the level of mass transmission. We're going to come to more on that in a short while. Lekin every da'wah needs a daleel. Ye qaida hai na Rashidiyya mein, ad-da'wah bila dalilin ghayru masmu'in. 5 very simple words, but quite effective, no doubt. That a claim without any proof or evidence is not ghayru masmu'in, is not listened to. Are you still with me? So I started by thanking the organizers, Mohsin Saab, Maulana, for hosting me, alhamdulillah, and giving me this opportunity to share some words with you. We've said tonight's discussion is regarding Aqidah Khatme Nubuwwat. We've said that this means what? These words translate as the belief, the creed in regards to the finality of prophethood. We said that this Aqidah is of 2 parts. How many parts? What's the first part? G. First part we just mentioned. Mesrai Prasa. You varna in through one year out of the other. First part of the Aqidah is what? That the last and final prophet of Allah is the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the second part is what? Don't be shy. The second part is that no other messenger or prophet will come after him. No other messenger or prophet will come. Ye Aqidah hai na? And in essence, this is our da'wah, our claim. And we've said what? Every da'wah needs a daleel. Every claim needs. And we're not talking here no win, no fee. 100% can uski win. No. Here we're talking, we need dalail. And in the Sharia, amongst many other types of dalail, the 2 main types of dalail, naqaliyya, which I've alluded to, and dalail aqaliyya. Tawajjuh hai na? Dalail naqaliyya and dalail aqaliyya. And dalail naqaliyya means what? Those proofs which have been transmitted, that have come to us by way of transmission, with the key source, primary source being what? The book of Allah Almighty Jalla wa Ala. Al-Quranul Kareem. Dhalika al-kitabu. Do tender local yaar. Kya karne rahe nada? Are they scared? That's why. Dhalika al-kitabu la rayba fi hudan lil muttaqeen. That book in which there is no doubt. And there are 6,236 verses in the Quran. You knew this, right? According to one formula of counting. The other is the more easier way to remember. And again, different formula of counting, 6,666, right? 114 surahs in the Quran, 86 which were revealed in Makkah al-Mukarramah over a period of 13 years. From the age of 40 to the age of 53. And then that leaves how many? 114 take away 86 is? Too slow. 28. 28 surahs which were revealed in Al-Madinatul Munawwara. 6,236 verses. Ulama Ikram mention that directly and indirectly over 100 verses are in relation to Aqidah Khatm Nabuwwat in the Quran. Over how many? Bolo na. Over 100 verses. Don't worry, I'm not going to go through all 100. Just in case you're thinking, any ajjan chona. The main verse is what? And the one verse that we'll focus upon. The other verses can be mentioned as well. For example, Al-Yawma akmaltu lakum deenakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati wa raditu lakum al-Islam deena. Like this, قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسُ إِنِّي رَسُولُ اللَّهِ إِلَيْكُمْ جَمِيعًا. Like this, وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. And many other verses like this as well. Like in the premise of the discussion, the dalil, yani qat'i, definitive evidence upon which Aqidah Khatm Nabuwwat is based upon is the verse that I had the sharaf of reciting in the khutbah. The verse that you're all familiar with. Surah number 33, verse number 40. Bola bola. Surah number 30. Surah number 30. Yaad karo na yaar sabak. Fir baad Imam Maulana Hasnain koi message kar so, bumped into somebody and he was saying that the Prophet ﷺ is the last prophet. Give me some dalil, akhi. Akhi kya desan? This is why we have these discussions for your benefit. Waise we're very good at remembering other types of numbers. If somebody from the opposite gender was to give us a number, give me a pen, give me a pen, give me a pen. No? Sharif log ka Nottingham wale hain. Jitne saadhe ho sare janne hain. Lekin, remember these things. Remember these things. Surah number 33, verse number 40. Surah number 33, verse number 40. Surah Al-Ahzab. Surah number 33, verse number 40. The premise of the discussion. Aqidah Khatm Nabuwwat based upon this ayat. Sarih verse. Explicit, outright, direct verse. Where Allah Almighty Jalla wa'ala Wazit says what? Ma kana Muhammadun aba ahadim min rijalikum. ولكن رسول الله وخاتم النبيين. خاتم اسم العالى or khatim, both pronunciation. يعني اسم الفاعل بقاعدة جائز. But nevertheless, Sada Tarjama Muhammad Sare Bolo Sallallahu Alayhi Wasallam is not the father of any of your men. There is a sabab nazul behind this ayat as well. Time doesn't permit to go into the depth of the discussion. But suffice to say, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is not the biological father of any one of us. But most certainly he is our spiritual father. Just as the Azwaj Mutahharat are our spiritual mothers. Wa azwajuhu ummahatuhum. Same surah, verse number 6. That his wives are their mothers. How many wives did the Prophet ﷺ have? Nottingham is known for Mehfil Naats, right? Had there been an international Naat Khan today at this program, I'm sure the masjid would have been full. But the very same people who attend these gatherings, illa mashallah, before somebody gets their jubba in a twist, right? Illa mashallah, ek aam baat hui hai. You ask them the basics of the deen, they will not know. Ye sada ja sawal hai ji, Mohsin sahab. How many pure wives did the Prophet ﷺ have? G? 40? No. 9, 12, 8, 7, 6. Let's go through the numbers. You should know Nabi ﷺ had 11 pure wives. How many? 11. Bola na fira. How many? 11 pure wives. Azwaj Mutahharat. Each and every one of them, mothers of the believers. Those of you who said 12, maybe you have the understanding, say the Maria Qibtiyya is also considered to be a pure wife. That is not the case. But 11 pure wives of the Prophet ﷺ. How many? 11. No doubt they are our mothers. Biological mother? No. Spiritual mothers. And just like they are our spiritual mothers, in the same way Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is our spiritual father as well. Acha. Interestingly here, Allah Almighty Jalla wa'ala didn't say مَا كَانَ رَسُولٌ or مَا كَانَ نَبِيٌّ. That the messenger is not the father of any one of you, or the messenger, the prophet is not the father of any one of you, in order to remove ambiguity and doubt. Only 4 times in the Quran Allah Almighty takes the name of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ism maf'ul, bab taf'eel. Only 4 times does Allah Almighty take the name of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Quran. Varna, Allah Almighty's blessed habit is what? That when referring to the Prophet ﷺ in the Quran, Allah Almighty refers to him by the most honorable titles. Ya ayyuhan Nabi, Ya ayyuhan Rasul, Yasin, Taha, Ya ayyuhan Muzammil, Ya ayyuhan Mudaththir, so on and so forth. Ye maqam Mustafa hai na? And then the ulama mentioned there are wisdoms, there are reasons why Allah Almighty mentions Ismi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in these 4 instances. Like for example here, in this particular verse, Allah Almighty again is removing all form of doubt, ambiguity. That had he said مَا كَانَ رَسُولٌ, maybe some would have interpreted it as what? That the messenger who Allah is referring to is probably Isa alayhi salam, could be. Or Dawood alayhi salam, or Musa alayhi salam. Or had Allah Almighty said مَا كَانَ نَبِيٌّ, then maybe this is referring to Baqaida Adam alayhi salam, Ibrahim alayhi salam, so on and so forth. So to remove all forms of doubt and to make it clear who Allah Almighty is referring to and who Allah Almighty gives this understanding to the mankind, to the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to the whole of kainat, that who is it that is the seal of the prophets? To remove all form of doubt, Allah Almighty said what? مَا كَانَ Muhammad ibn Abdullah, ibn Abdul Muttalib, ibn Hashim, radiyallahu ta'ala anhum. So there is no doubt here. And here, this verse, Surah number 33, verse number 40 is referring to who? The best of creation, the light of humanity, the purpose of our existence. Led by Nabi Kareem Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that Prophet of Allah, that if he wanted, no doubt he could have turned the mountains into gold. That Prophet of Allah that would, with one simple ishara, he split the moon into 2. And not only did he split the moon into 2, he put it back together again as well. That Prophet of Allah who was shaded from the heat of the sun, either by the wings of the angels or by the clouds in the sky. That Prophet of Allah who did ishara to a cluster of dates, and that cluster of dates left its tree, its place, came and read the shahada in front of the Prophet ﷺ, and then that cluster of dates went back to its place as well. That Prophet of Allah, that he placed his blessed fingers bila tashbih wa tamthil into a bowl, and water began to gush from the fingers of Rasulullah ﷺ. He's not like you and me. So Allah Almighty is no doubt talking about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the son of Abdullah, the son of Amina. So he's not the father of any one of your men. So then, what is the maqam of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Allah Almighty Jalla wa Ala says, walakin, rather, he is Rasulullah. He is the messenger of Allah. He is the he is the and then further to this, وَخَاتَمَ النَّبِيِّينَ, he is the seal of the prophets. He is the seal of the prophets. Acha. We'll start with Ibn Jarir al-Tabari here in the Tafsir Jami' al-Bayan. And Ibn Jarir al-Tabari, for those of you who are interested to know, one of the earlier mutaqaddimin from amongst the Mufassirin, left this dunya in the year 310 after Hijri. They Tafsir Jami' al-Bayan. They write, Wazit to, under this verse of the Quran. Tawajjuh hai na? Surah number 33, verse number 40. Bolo, verse number 40. Ibn Jarir al-Tabari says what? That Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is that personality which brought the arrangement and succession of prophethood to an end. And he has placed a seal on it. Now after him, until the day of judgment, the door of prophethood will not be open for anyone. Will not be open for anyone. This affirms the da'wah, the two parts to our aqidah. And Nabi Islam is the last and final messenger, prophet of Allah. And that no other messenger, prophet will come after him. Ibn Jarir at-Tabari here affirming what we mentioned. There's a full history behind this. This is what we call scholarship. Ijma'i a'imma. And ijma' in itself, as you know, as you probably heard many a times from Maulana, in itself carries a huge value and its huge weight within the ummah, which is often disregarded by the Wahhabiyya, Salafiyya, so on and so forth. Barhal. So here, this is what Ibn Jarir at-Tabari, rahimahullah ta'ala says. And then further to this, Hafiz Imaduddin ibn Kathir. You've heard of the name, right? Hafiz ibn Kathir. Imaduddin ibn Kathir. They write the words. And the words here are also transmitted by Allama Yusuf bin Ismail al-Nabhani, rahimahullah ta'ala, in one of their famous works, Al-Anwar al-Muhammadiyya min al-Mawahib al-Ladunniya. And Allama Yusuf bin Ismail al-Nabhani, those of you who know, is referred to as the Ala Hazrat of the East. Ek ta hamare Ala Hazrat na. Dal di qalb mein azamat Mustafa Sayyidi Ala Hazrat pe lakho salam. Taqdar Bareli Sharif. And then we have also referred to as a Mujaddid of his Dawr Zamana. Here left this dunya in the year 1932. Not that long ago. They have this work here based upon Baqaida Imam Qastalani's Al-Mawahib al-Ladunniya, famous work. Here, Safar number 241. Under this discussion, after transmitting the verse here, this same verse, Hafiz ibn Kathir writes, هذه الآية نص. Those of you doing the basics of Mawsuf and Sifa, Mudaf and Mudaf ilay, Ismul Ishara lil Qarib and Ba'id, and Mubtada Khabar, will figure these three words out. هذه الآية نص. That this verse is nas. Nas meaning explicit, undeniable, unrefuted. What does it establish? This verse that we've just spent the last 10 minutes on. They said that it establishes that أنه لا نبي بعده, that there is no messenger, there is no prophet after the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is what our ulama have said and written, that there is no prophet after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فلا رسول بطريق الأولى. And not only does this refer to the prophethood of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, yani his nubuwwat, but it also refers to his risalat as well. There's a difference between messengership and prophethood. Faqat going to do tashri upon this. Why? لِأَنَّ مَقَامَ الرِّسَالَةِ أَخَصُّ مِنْ مَقَامِ النُّبُوَّةِ. They said that the maqam of risala is far greater, is more nobler than the maqam of martaba of prophethood. So if prophethood has been alluded to, and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is Khatam al-Nabiyyin, then this also means that he is Khatam al-Rusul as well. He is Khatam al-Rusul. And you find this from amongst the names of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, right? Imam Jazuli's Dala'il al-Khairat fi dhikri salati ala al-Nabiy al-Mukhtar, 201 beautiful names of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Sayyiduna Khatamul Rusuli and Sayyiduna Khatamul Anbiya'i, two of the names of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So it is clear that the Prophet ﷺ, no doubt, is the last and final messenger and prophet of Allah. And that no other messenger or prophet will come after him. To take it one step further. Here, Baqaida, in one of the classical works of Aqaid, universally accepted across the board. No matter what firqa you align yourself with, apart from certain groups, they will teach this book, Al-Aqidat al-Tahawiyya, of Imam Abu Ja'far al-Tahawi, rahimahullah ta'ala, who again left this dunya in the 4th century after Hijrah, the year 321 after Hijri. And we teach this book to our year 2 Dars-e-Nizamis, or Baqaida part-time students, fundamental work on creed. 105 points. And if you go through these points, that's it. You're solid. Solid as a brick wall. And here they mention Wazito. Within the third chapter, the chapter of prophethood, that Imam Abu Ja'far al-Tahawi says what? They say, وَأَنَّهُ خَاتَمُ الْأَنْبِيَاءِ. Say Subhanallah. Mathe loka yaar.
Subhanallah.
Wैसे I never ever ask people to say Subhanallah, apart from those who just sat there like zombies. Either you're very keen and interested on what I'm saying, or hanging up my every word, which I doubt very much. Or you're just lazy. I don't know which one it is. Time will tell. So Imam Abu Ja'far al-Tahawi says what? Going one step further. وَأَنَّهُ خَاتَمُ الْأَنْبِيَاءِ Wazit here, Matan of Aqidah Tahabiyah, that he is the seal of the prophets. He is the seal of the prophets. He is the seal of the prophets. وَإِمَامُ الْأَتْقِيَاءِ وَسَيِّدُ الْمُرْسَلِينَ وَحَبِيبُ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Look at again, doesn't give us the ijazat to go into that. Agli gal. وَكُلُّ دَعْوَ النُّبُوَّةِ بَعْدَهُ فَغَيٌّ وَهَوَى. Imam Abu Ja'far al-Tahawi says what? That anyone who makes the claim of prophethood after you, then this is based upon their whims and desires. And we've seen this. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam himself told us, Wazit Tor here, Abu Dawud Sharif ki riwayat. Hawala bhi pesh karne ya. Hadith Sharif number 4254. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that indeed Allah has folded the earth for me, and has shown me its west and has shown me its east. Maqam Mustafa dekho na. And there will be 30 there will be 30 deceitful liars, Dajjal, amongst my community. Each one will consider himself to be a prophet. How many deceitful liars? 30. So then the issue isn't just with Mirza. As Maulana alluded to, the one who died on a toilet. The issue isn't just with him, but there were others, even towards the end of the Zahri life of the Prophet ﷺ on this earth. Musaylim al-Kadhdhab, to name one individual, and more on him in a short while. Individual who claimed prophethood during the life of the Prophet ﷺ. And one of the trials and tribulations of the Dawr Khilafat of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and the battle of Yamama which ensued on the back of that. We're going to come to that towards the end. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said what? Each one of them will consider to be himself to be a prophet. Lekin Bazit Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said what? However, Ana khatamun nabiyyin, I am the last of the prophets. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said what? I am the last of the prophets. Wala nabiyya ba'dahu, and there is no prophet after me. So when you move away from any verses of the Quran, you come towards Ahadith al-Mubarakah. Numerous and countless narrations here. Numerous and countless narrations here. And we're going to come to this. Those who claim to make this claim of prophethood after the Prophet ﷺ, what their state is, we'll come to that. Barhal, ye ek riwayat hai na Abu Dawud Sharif ki. Ustu ilawa, coming towards some sort of conclusion, jere rehne nahi na hua, evi nasijan, ye Bukhari Sharif hai. Bukhari, और ये बुखारी शरीफ हदीस शरीफ नंबर 3575. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said what? Dalail naqliya. Mathali wa mathalul anbiya'i ka mathali rajulin bana daran fa akmalaha wa ahsanaha illa mawdi'a labinatin fa kana man dakhalaha fa nazara ilayha qala ma ahsanaha illa mawdi'a hadhihi al-labinati wa ana mawdi'u al-labinati khutima biyal anbiya'u. Tarjuma pesh karne ha. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, my example and the example of the prophets before me is like the man who built a beautiful house. Daran, built a beautiful house. فَأَكْمَلَهَا, he completed it. وَأَحْسَنَهَا, and he beautified it. Lekin, illa, except مَوْضِعَ لَبِنَةٍ, he left one space in the corner for one final brick. Analytical language here by the Prophet ﷺ. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, this man built a beautiful house representing the house of the prophets and left one space for one final brick. And then فَكَانَ مَنْ دَخَلَهَا, that whosoever entered the house, فَنَظَرَ إِلَيْهَا, they looked around the house and they came to this conclusion, مَا أَحْسَنَهَا, what a beautiful house. إِلَّا مَوْضِعَ هَذِهِ اللَّبِنَةِ, except for this space in the corner. It seems like there is a brick missing. So what did Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam say? He said, أَنَا مَوْضِعُ اللَّبِنَةِ, that I am that final brick. I am that
final brick.
And now that Khutima biyal anbiya'u, the prophets are sealed. Khutima, they are sealed with me. And the whole silsila, succession of prophethood closes with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Like this third dalil, first narration Abu Dawud Sharif, second narration Bukhari Sharif, third dalil from Hadith Mubarakah. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioned Sahih Muslim Sharif ki riwayat, Kitabul Masajid. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, और ये Hadith Sharif number 1195 in Sahih Muslim Sharif. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, فُضِّلْتُ عَلَى الْأَنْبِيَاءِ بِسِتٍّ, that I've been given superiority over the prophets in regards to six things. How many? Bolo na. U'titu jawami al-kalim. Number one, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that I've been granted comprehensiveness of speech and word. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, qalilul alfaz wa kathirul ma'ani. He would say little in terms of words, but they will be vast in meaning. Volumes upon volumes, which fill libraries from east to west, have been baqaida written upon the blessed words of Rasul Akram sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Further to this, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, not only have I been given comprehensiveness in speech, وَنُسِرْتُ بِالرُّعْبِ. Number two, and what Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had that the previous Anbiya Mursaleen didn't have. और ये भी याद रखो, that whatever the previous messengers and prophets had in terms of maqam, in terms of martaba, in terms of mu'jizat that they perform, in terms of their rank and honor, all of them received this through the khairat and barakat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. क्यों गल सारी सरकार दिया ना, गल सारी सरकार दिया. कौन देता है देने को, मुँह चाहिए, देने वाला है सच्चा हमारा नबी. Adam al-Islam has his maqam and martaba because of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Nuh al-Islam has his maqam and martaba because of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Idris alayhi salam, Shit alayhi salam, Ibrahim alayhi salam, his sons Ishaq and Ismail. You go through the list of the prophets, all of them have their maqam and martaba because of Rasulullah. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq has his maqam and martaba because of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Umar al-Faruq has his maqam and martaba because of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sayyidina Uthman Ghani Dhun-Nurayn has his maqam and martaba because of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ali Murtaza Mushkil Kusha Sher Khuda has his maqam and martaba because of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hasanain Karimain, Fatima Zahra the beloved mother, kya baat hai raza us चमनिस्तान करम की ज़हरा है कली जिसमें हुसैन और हसन फूल. Mother and sons have their maqam and martaba because of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ghaus Pak has his maqam and martaba because of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Khwaja Garib Nawaz has his maqam and martaba because of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imam Rabbani Mujaddid Al-Fithani has his maqam and martaba because of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ala Hazrat has his maqam and martaba because of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Are you and me today, we have what we have because of the khairat and barakat of Rasulullah. बस गल सारी सरकार दिया. तो ये क्या हो सकना, that somebody recites the kalima of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but at the same time looks for faults in Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. ये हमारे जैसे हैं. He didn't know this and he didn't know that. And as we were talking about in light of the verse from Surah Maryam, Surah number 19, verse number 17, that when Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam came to Maryam salamullah alayha, فتمثل لها بشرا سويا, जो पर ये मौजू सी Noor of Bashar ka jagra hi khatam. Jibreel alayhi salam in his asal is made from Noor. Malaika are made from Noor. But here Quran says what? When Jibreel alayhi salam came in the form of a human, in the form of a man, Bashar, which tells you and me that the changing of appearance does not affect the originality. So just as Jibreel alayhi salam came in the form of a Bashar and his asal is Noor, in the same way it shouldn't be difficult for you to accept and acknowledge that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in his asal no doubt is Noor. He came in the form of the best in terms of Bashariyat, in terms of his humanness. Lekin nahi. एक होना कुरान पढ़ना और एक होना कुरान समझना. वही बड़ा कुरान पढ़ने की, बड़ा कुरान पढ़ने की, बड़ा कुरान पढ़ने, कुरान पढ़ने लेकिन कुरान युदिल्लु बिही कसीरा व यहदी बिही कसीरा. This Quran will misguide many. This Quran will guide many as well. पहचान रखो, पहचान रखो. Bara Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said what? وَنُسِرْتُ بِالرُّعْبِ. Number 2. Maqam Mustafa dekho. Sahih Muslim Sharif ki riwayat. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, I've been assisted with ru'b. That 1 month in advance, the enemies of Islam, they would fear the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's arrival. Imagine that. Imagine that. And number 3, وَأُحِلَّتْ لِيَ الْغَنَائِمُ. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Male ghanimat, the spoils of war have been made lawful for me and my ummah. Number 4, وَجُعِلَتْ لِيَ الْأَرْضُ طَهُورًا وَمَسْجِدًا. And the entire earth has been made pure for me and my ummah. So much so that we can use the soil in order to perform tayammum, and we can lay down our musalla anywhere on the earth and face the direction of the Qibla and establish the prayer. Number 5, وَأُرْسِلْتُ إِلَى الْخَلْقِ كَافَّةً. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said what? That I've been sent to the whole of humanity. Whereas previous prophets were sent to their own specific nations, limited time, years here and there. For example, Nuh alayhi salam, we know that he lived for how long? 1050 years. Out of 1050 years, Nuh alayhi salam preached the wahdaniyya, rububiyya, uluhiyya of Allah Almighty, Jalla wa ala, for 950 years. You know this, right? 950 saal ki tabligh. And after 950 years, you know how many people accepted his call to the oneness of Allah? Only 80. Mohsin Sahab, poster agya piche taqseem kita, Jume par bhi elan hoya, WhatsApp par bhi laya, bande sirf 40 aaye, oh bhi pata nahi, maybe I'm not counting properly. When it was at his peak, some have already left. Oh, today topic, no role, no rappe, it seems a bit boring today. Maulvi Sahab on best behavior. तुम्हें पाया ना इस तरीके ना कोई मौजू है ना, people are not interested. People are not interested. In order to do tahaffuz, yani protect their iman and aqidah, we haven't got the time. But we've got time to watch TV shows on Netflix. We've got time to watch reruns of Christmas movies every year. We've got time for football and cricket and all these things. Got no time for the deen. Gal sametne. Gal sametne. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said as a universal prophet. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said as a universal prophet with a universal message, with a universal book. Maqam Mustafa Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And here the last words. وَخُتِمَ بِيَ النَّبِيُّونَ. The 6th thing that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was given. And no doubt in turn was his superiority over the rest of the Anbiya. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam himself said that the line of prophets is closed with me. The lines of prophets is khulasa pesh karne ya. You thakke ho tusa. Safar tusa karita aaye ho na. Ye baqaida khulasa. What did we say? Our aqidah is what? The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is the last and final prophet of Allah. No other prophet will come after him. First dalil from the Quran was what? Surah number 30, verse 43, verse number 40. That Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is not the father of any one of your men. Rather, he is the messenger of Allah and the seal of the prophets. We looked at and mentioned what Imam Ibn Jarir al-Tabari has written under this ayat of the Quran in his tafsir. What Hafiz Ibn Kathir has mentioned and written. What Allama Yusuf bin Ismail al-Abhani has said and written here. And most of the Mufassirun are very similar in what they have said. That this verse of the Quran is explicit, outright proof and evidence that no doubt Nabi Sallallahu Wasallam is the seal of the prophets, the last and final messenger Prophet of Allah, and that no other messenger Prophet will come. No other messenger Prophet will come after him. Further to that, we mentioned 3 ahadith mubarakah. Chalo khush kariyoro. First narration was mentioned in Abu what? Abu Dawud Sharif. Nabi Sallallahu Wasallam said there'll be how many deceitful liars? 30 from within the ummah. And most recent was who? Elijah Muhammad, nation of Islam. What, 20, 30, 40 years ago? Malcolm X era, the boxer Muhammad Ali's era. Or he claimed to be a prophet as well, if I'm not mistaken. So again, people are oblivious to these things. Oblivious to these things. So here, understand and know that the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam himself told us that there will be 30 deceitful liars within the ummah. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said what? That understand and know that I am the last prophet. And there will be no other prophet. La nabiyya ba'dahu. La nabiyya ba'dahu. La nabiyya ba'dahu. La nabiyya ba'dahu. Second narration was from where? Regarding the house of the prophets. Which book? Bukhari. Akhi, give me Bukhari. Everyone knows Bukhari, right? Bukhari Sharif. Mathali wa mathalul anbiya'i ila akhir. And then now the narration we've just gone through. Sahih Muslim, Kitabul Masajid. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, what? Fuddiltu ala al-anbiya'i bi sittin. I've been given superiority over the rest of the prophets in regards to 6 things. Barhal, gal sametne. So what we mentioned earlier on, that Imam Abu Ja'far al-Tahawi says what? وَكُلُّ دَعْوَةً نُبُوَّةِ بَعْدَهُ فَغَيٌّ وَهَوَى. Anyone who makes such a claim after the Prophet ﷺ or prophethood ma'adallah, then this is based upon nothing but whims or desires. Here, Allama Yusuf ibn Ismail al-Bhani goes one step further. Yani one from the mutaakhirin, one from the mutaqaddimin, one from the mutaakhirin. Here, they say what? They say, لِيَعْلَمُوا أَنَّ كُلَّ مَنِ ادَّعَى هَذَا الْمَقَامَ بَعْدَهُ فَهُوَ كَذَّابٌ آفَاكٌ دَجَّالٌ ضَالٌ مُضِلٌّ. Wazit Tor. Then we come towards the conclusion, and then inshallah we make the final dua. Allama Yusuf bin Ismail al-Bhani says what? لِيَعْلَمُوا. Know and understand. You're offering him a Red Bull like he's doing the speech, huh? Shabash. Class we need you're offering him the Red Bull. Shabash. Not taking away yaar, banni gaya. لِيَعْلَمُوا. Allama Yusuf bin Ismail al-Bhani say here, middle of page number 241. No, أَنَّ كُلَّ مَنِ ادَّعَى. That whoever makes this claim of prophethood after him ba'dahu فَهُوَ كَذَّابٌ. He is a liar. He is a bolo, he is a liar. And not only is he a liar, afakun, he is an imposter. He is an imposter. Dajjalun, he is a fraudster. He is a fraudster. Balun, he is misguided himself. Mubillun, he is misguiding others. So when some people tell you have this soft spot, right? For the Qadianis, albatta we have certain hukmaran who say what? The Qadiani ji, hamare bhai hai. Sabika Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Sharif. Qadianis are our brothers in Islam as well, ma'adallah, thumma ma'adallah. And how they go to great lengths in order to uphold the rights of the minority of Lahori Qadianis and others. Ajib wa gharib, that here our ulama have said one thing, hukmaran are doing something completely opposite. And then when ulama take a stance and uphold Aqidah Khatm Nabuwat, then they are deemed to be terrorists, ma'adallah. Whether that be Shah Ahmad Nurani, Siddiqui rahimahullah ta'ala, or Maulana Abdul Sattar Khan Niazi, rahmatullah alayhi, most recently Amirul Mujahideen, Fana fi khatamin nabiyyin. Huzur Baba ji rahmatullah alayh, Hazrat Allama Mufti, Khadim Hussain Rizvi rahmatullah alayh. हाँ, तो कोई लोगों ने पेटे जलन हो जानी है ना when you hear their name. But this is reality. Somebody who were a real chair brought the leaders of and whichever hukumat it was, Nawaz Sharif, and before him Parvez Musharraf, and recently Imran Khan, brought them down to their knees. Shukriya Janab. You redeemed yourself. Well done, sir. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli. Durood Sharif. Allahumma salli. An individual in a wheelchair did something that a whole army can't do. Whatever your nazariyat may be in relation to their methodology, that's a discussion for another day. But no doubt, the pages of history will remember him as an individual who upheld Aqidah Khatm Nabuwat when it was at its most perilous. In terms of those who tried to amend Article 295C within the Constitution of Pakistan, which I alluded to earlier. So we have to play a very similar role, with wisdom of course. We're not encouraging or inciting hatred or violence in any way. Democratically, know what your rights are within the hudud, the perimeters of freedom of speech, not hate speech. Not hate speech, but freedom of speech. That is clear. It's clear that they are kafir. But despite this clarity, which our ulama, this mission that started khastor in the Indian subcontinent with Tajdar Gorra Sharif, P. Sayyid Meher Ali Shah Sahib Rahmatullah Alayh, Saif Chishtiya, or Shamsul Hidayah, and how they challenged the clown of Qadian to debate at the turn of the century, and how he didn't turn up, and full notes here, timeline in regards to how Waqaida Peer Sahib Rahmatullah Alayh, Asli Nasli Handani Peer, not the peers of today, Peer Sahib Agenti, Ajib wa Gharib, Aqidah Khatm Nabuwat par hamla waliya ji, and you won't hear a single statement or a word from this Peer Sahib who has thousands of murids. Peer Sahib कहते हैं जी, Peer Sahib आपने आस्ताने शरीफ पर तस्वीर रोलने जी, जिक्र करने, दुरुस्त है, जायज है, इनकार ना करने. Lekin when the honor of the Prophet ﷺ is compromised, then it is incumbent upon each and every one of us to take a stance. If somebody swallowed your mother or your father, your grandparents, your aunties or uncles, would you tolerate it? Bolo na? No. Would you accept it? No. 10 months would land. Why? Because it's your mother. No one's more beloved to you than your mother. It's your father. No one's more beloved to you than your father. Lekin as Maulana alluded to the narration, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى أكون أحب إليه من ولده ووالده والناس أجمعين. أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told you and me that none of you is a true believer until your parents, your children, and all of the people in the world become more beloved to you than the Prophet of Allah Subhanahu. Or sir Baba, Subhanallah, Nare Takbir, Nare Risalat Mastani. Shabash Imam Sahib, well done, well said. We are behind you. The picture to ko banda hi nahi nazar aayi. Ye hasne ki baat nahi, ye rone ki baat hai. We saw this now recently with the Bali grammar issue. RS teacher, religious studies teacher, who showed the caricatures of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Faqir took his stance. Picture dekhe nahi, nazar nahi aaya. Albatta jitna mera zati nuksan hoya na. And if Maulana gives me time afterwards, I'll tell him, Zati jitna nuksan hoya. And my own personal reputation that has been damaged. Lekin what is my reputation? What is your reputation? When the honor of Rasulullah is being compromised. 1,000 honors and 1,000 izzat be qurban upon the izzat of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Kam az kam ye ta hi sakne qiyamat ke din par. Qabr which we inshallah jawab di sakne na, that when the time occurred, when this issue came to the shores of the United Kingdom, we were on the front line. We took a stance be that a letter that was acknowledged by the office of the Prime Minister of this country, or be that going outside that school and making our statement known. We took our stance. Lekin what are the rest of us doing? We look at it, yes, Molviana masla hai. Molviana masla hai. This is something that affects each and every one of us. Hamla upon namus risalat, hamla upon aqidah khatm nabuwat, hamla upon the ashab and the all of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sare gunge ho jane ji. नहीं, मौलवी साहब ने सिर्फ यही काम है that he does bayan of the fara'id of wudu and the fara'id of salah. What was the point of you seeking knowledge? What was the point of you spending them years with your asatiza and going through the books? Ghairat koni, the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's honor is being compromised, and you take the neutral ground. We'll sit on the fence. We'll sit on the fence and we'll see what happens. Tamasha dekhne ji. Or some who are in the back pockets. बहुत ज़्यादा गाल हो जाती है ना हुआ है, बाद में कोई कंप्लेंट भी हो जाए, लेकिन गाली थे मुकाने हैं. And ये जो stance है ना, that our ulama have taken, not in our lifetime only, but those before us as well. Some of the names that I mentioned, and this in reality is the sunnah of Afdal al-Bashar Ba'd al-Anbiya, Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala. I alluded to it earlier, the battle of Yamama, Musaylama al-Kazzab, who was from the lands of Najd. Us door which 11th year after Hijri, no Facebook, no social media, no vast following. But do you know how many people were in the army of Musaylama, the false prophet? 70,000. And we're in the Dajjalic era. Though, as Maulana alluded to, what doesn't help the situation is so-called leaders of the Muslim world, who they themselves are orchestrating all types of baghairati and behayai. 2 weeks ago, Ghaliban last week, what happened in the land where the Quran was revealed, that land where Jibreel alayhi salam came and descended upon, that very same land, Riyadh and Jeddah, holding musical festivals, or Baqaida WWE wrestling stars. 80,000 Kanjar Khan gathered in Riyadh, taking part in a music festival. No, subhanallah, astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah. Lanat be upon the Hukmaran of Saudi Arabia. And like Maulana said, no holds bar. What's wrong is wrong. And these very same Khas Poli Muhammad bin Salman, who's now authorized casinos to be open in Al-Madinatul Munawwara, pubs and clubs to be open in the city of the beloved Habib sallallahu alaihi wasallam. हमारे सीधे साधे लोग जी वही गल है ना, सीधे साधे. और आइए हम तो सीधे साधे मुसलमान हैं. तू सीधा साधा है, बाकी जो राइज हो डिंगे से ना, दाता लियो जो मेरी डिंगे से मालूम है, इमाम रब्बानी डिंगे से ना, इमाम अबू हनीफा डिंगे, तू सीधा साधा है. अजीब यार, किस तरफ जाए रे यार? This is why come back before it's too late. Come back before it's too late. At the end of the day, we will be asked only one question: ما كنت تقول في هذا الرجل لمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. ये इमाम बुखारी का नजरिया है, ये इमाम मुस्लिम का नजरिया है. The other questions you'll find in Abu Dawud Sharif. Imam Bukhari, Imam Muslim only do not tell one question. What do you say? Al-fi'lul madi al-istimrari. What do you say about this man? Yani Muhammadur Rasulullah. What answer are we going to give? That Aqidah khatmi nubuwwat par hamla ho si jaisa chup chute baithe raha. Namus risalat par hamla ho si chup chute baithe. And you know what hurts the most? Isn't the music festival, though that's wrong, condemning it outright. Isn't the casinos or the Baqaida pubs and clubs they're opening in Madinatul Munawwara, though it's wrong, we're condemning it outright. But the most hurtful thing last week was when they called that shaitan, that lanati president of France, Macron, and awarded him with some sort of in'am. Ajay hamare log ji. Really, we're going to follow the Saudis when it comes to Eid Masala. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. Or lanat to na. That in Riyadh you have no social distancing, 80,000 people jumping on top of each other, but in the Haramain Sharifain you've got social distancing happening. यही कज़ाब है ना, यही झूठ है ना. हमारे फिर में बड़े सीधे साधे लोग पहचान रखो यार. असल और नकल की पहचान रखो। ये फिरकाबादियत नहीं, ये ना समझो imam sahib coming from BD Bradford, right? He's coming from BD and that's it. He's got his own mindset, village mindset in Bradford. No, Alhamdulillah, we've gone past that stage. हाँ, ये ग्लोबल विलेज है, हर चीज हमारे सामने है, कोई छपी हुई चीज नहीं। हाँ, wake up and realize what's going on before it's too late. और ये पूरा agenda against the Zat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then we have takbir, नारे रिसालत, या रसूलुल्लाह, नारे हैदरी, या हाँ, ये अंदाजा आखिरी बात है मेरी, आखिरी बात। What pains us not only is the Hukmaran of Saudi Arabia, then those within our own circles, wolves in sheep clothing, Milad Sharif भी करने जी, यार विश्री भी करने, पीरी मुरीदी भी करने, लेकिन माज़अल्लाह at the same time they will insult the Sahaba Ikram. At the same time they will insult the Ahlul Bayt at the same time they will go against the Nazariyat of Aqidah Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. The Imam Abu Ja'far al-Tahawi here Wazir mentions what was the end of the matan. وَلَا نُفَضِّلُ أَحَدًا مِنَ الْأَوْلِيَاءِ عَلَى أَحَدٍ مِنَ الْأَنْبِيَاءِ عَلَيْهِمُ السَّلَامُ وَنَقُولُ نَبِيٌّ وَاحِدٌ أَفْضَلُ مِنْ جَمِيعِ الْأَوْلِيَاءِ. Then our aqidah is clear and that we do not give superiority of a wali from amongst the awliya more so than we do to a nabi from amongst the anbiya. लेकिन आजकल सुनिया stage up पर Pishab is making the statement what? Pishab is saying that Baqaida, ghair Nabi can be greater than a Nabi of Allah Almighty. The very fabrics of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah creed are being tarnished. और हमारे लोग जी बस गूंगे होए बे। जी गाल करो जी मौलवी साहब बड़े डांटे होएगे जी, मौलवी साहब बड़े सख्त होएगे जी, मौलवी साहब ने मजाक बड़ा सख्त हो गया। कुलिल हक़्क़ व इन कान मुर्रन। Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, speak the truth, even if it is bitter or sour. This is the reality. And like I've already mentioned at the beginning, Qadiani na jo is speaking of game hai na, open your eyes. Now we have youngsters who are marrying Qadiani girls. And vice versa. Doing business with Qadianis, going to their houses and eating there as well. All of these things are impermissible. They are not allowed. So कोई इस तरीके ना होश रखो, कोई शऊर रखो, पहचान रखो. अल्लाह तबारक व तआला समझने की और अमल करने की तौफीक अता फरमाए. For my own understanding, if you learn at least one new thing today, don't just put your hand up to make me happy. If you learn at least one new thing today, put your hand up. बाबा भी माशाल्लाह पीछे बैठे, अरसे बाद मुलाकात हुई ऐसा. माशाल्लाह, बस मेरे आने का मकसद पूरा हो गया. अल्लाह तबारक व तआला कबूल करन. Once again I'm grateful to Maulana Hasnain Yaqub Hafizahullah Ta'ala, Mohsin as well, for organizing this event. Don't be disheartened by the number of attendees. आते वो है जिनको सरकार बुलाते हैं. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala accept your efforts, reward us in abundance. Inshallah, I think you might have Salatu Salam or whatever it is that you're going to conclude the gathering with, and then inshallah we'll take it from there. Allah.
Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala Sayyidina Rasulullah. First and foremost, I would like to thank our respected and honorable guest, Imam Adil Shahzad Sahab, a great speaker, a great scholar in the deen, a great teacher. And Alhamdulillah, I just want to make it perfectly clear here now, the only conversation me and Imam Sahab had before he arrived was, what topic did he want to speak on? And all I said to him was, you choose a topic, there is no restriction on what to say, there is no restriction on you in regards to time. Apart from that, we had no discussion, no speaking about anything that's been said. The reason I'm mentioning that is, for those of you who come here every week and hear me speak, now you know that what I am saying is not coming from me, myself alone. Imam Sahib, I do not have regular contact with him. We see each other's statuses, now and then Islam dua. But this is somebody who lives 1.5 hours away from me. And what he has conveyed to you is the same what I say to you. So what this is the belief of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, the people of the Sunnah. This is our creed. It is not that one Maulvi is saying one thing and this is just his view. This is our belief, this is our creed, and this is what we must hold on to firm to. Because if we do not hold on to this firmly, our children will be misguided. And there's many vultures out there now, they are waiting to pounce on your children. Your future children, they will pounce on them. If you are strong, if you are firm, the way Imam Adil Sahib has, repeatedly said things, reminds me of my teaching days in school, right? He's done it. So you will all remember the daleel, inshallah ta'ala. So if anybody questions you, you have Imam Sahib to thank you for this, inshallah ta'ala. So I'll ask everybody, we'll ask Imam Sahib to make the closing dua. Please, nobody leave. We have German doner kebab on its way, inshallah, takeaway boxes. You can all take that home with you, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakallah khair.
German doner, we had some yesterday. एक वाली सूरतुल फातिहा शरीफ, 3 वाली सूरतुल इखलास शरीफ, अव्वल आखिर ज़रूर शरीफ, खास तौर for all of the ulama haqqa, ulama ahli sunnati wal jama'ah, from the time of Siddiq Akbar till Huzur Amirul Mujahideen, rahmatullah alayhi, who have spent their lives upholding Aqidah Khatm Nabuwat and Tahaffuz Namus Risalat, for their Isal Thawab as well as our marhumin marhumat. Alhamdulillah. قل هو الله الله الصمد. Make dua for me. Tomorrow we start a 25-city nationwide tour on the principles of the creed of the Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. Minimum 4.5 hour lecture wherever I'm going. Tomorrow we start in Madni Masjid Banbury near Oxford. On the way here, just as I was leaving Bradford after I spoke to Mohsin, the president of the Masjid rang and said there were 75 brothers and sisters signed up and registered. Milton Keynes next Saturday, Telford next Sunday, then Cradley Heath on the 9th, then we've got Victoria Park Masjid in Manchester, Edinburgh. Alhamdulillah, everything fi sabilillah. Even the books that we've just produced, 71-page booklet, fi sabilillah, we'll distribute to the students. Yes? But ये सिर्फ एक ही मकसद है, to safeguard the aqidah, the creed of the Najwan Nasl, the youngsters of this country. 2018 statistic, you know this, right? 10,000 Muslims left Islam in the United Kingdom. Pre-COVID, pre-pandemic. Now Allah knows best what the situation is. Suicide rate is on the increase, mental health and depression is on the increase. You hear of these things every week from Maulana. So we need to change, and we need to change quickly. So ये सिर्फ एक बंदे का काम नहीं है, but Mohsin Saab रा बाकायदा poster बनाई और यार everyone should play their part. And Nottingham asked me, केरी मस्जिद है वो? The
Islamic Center.
Dua starts with S. Sultania. They asked me, and I said all my dates have been booked up. Based on tonight, thank God I said no. Booty le lo ko Nottingham wale yaar. मैं बाहर नाथ खान तो बगैर तो उसने काम नहीं बनना. Barat. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala no doubt rewards us according to our sincerity. And my dear brother Mohsin is very sincere. He visited Al-Hikam a couple of weeks ago as well and blessed us with his presence. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. His mommy passed away yesterday. Khas taur we make dua for her, Isal Thawab. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala raise her darajat in akhirah. Allah Almighty grant her the highest maqam in Jannatul Firdaus. Allahumma aghfirha warhamha. Waj'al qabraha rawdatan min riyad al-Jannah. So once again I request du'as for this gunagar and faqir, adna talib ilm, for this tour that we are starting from Dunfermline all the way down to Bristol and everything in between. And inshallah Allah Almighty grant us success in this. Raise your hands, we'll make mukhtasar dua that we are free to do. Amin Allahumma salli ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina wa shafiyyina wa maulana Muhammadin abdika wa rasulika wa nabiyyika wa salli ala al-mu'minina wal mu'minat wal muslimina wal muslimat. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adhaban nar. Rabbana atmim lana nurana واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما وزدنا حكمة والحمد لله على كل حال. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع ومن دعاء لا يسمع ومن قلب لا يخشع ومن نفس لا تشبع. اللهم اغفر لنا قبل الموت وارحمنا عند الموت ولا تعذبنا بعد الموت ولا تحاسبنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. اللهم ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك. يا مصرف القلوب صرف قلوبنا على طاعتك. يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا حنان يا منان يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. Accept this mahfil of majlis in your barakah. From ibtida to intiha, salat wa isha ba jamaat, our rukuz and our sujood, whatever has been mentioned, light of Quran and Sunnah bil khusus, roshni that we have shed upon aqidah khatmi nubuwwat in light of Quran and Sunnah, and the ijma of the ai*imma. Ya Allah, we ask of you accept all of this in your barakah. What we have collectively recited in the glorious Quran ayat, muqaddasat, surah al-Fatiha, surah al-Ikhlas, ki tilawat. Ya Allah, accept this in your barakah. After Qubuliyat in your barakah, let the reward of this mahfil of majlis from ibtida to intiha, all that which you have participated in, be conveyed first and foremost. Hadiyatan, tawfatan, aqidatan, muhabbatan, adaban, to the barakah Huzur Jan Jana, Tajdar Madina, Rasul Akram, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ya Allah, then to the wasila and wasila of Islam, Islam, tawassul tasaddaq of Najma Nabi Kareem, Rasul Khatamun Nabiyyin, Rahmatul lil Alameen, Shafi'ul Mudhnibeen, let the reward be conveyed by way of Isa al-Thawab. To all of the Anbiya, Mursaleen, Sahaba Ikram, Ahlul Bayt Athar, Azwaj Mutahharat, Walidain, Karimain, Aulad Pak of Rasul Akram, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Shuhadai Badr, Shuhadai Uhud, Shuhadai Yamama, Shuhadai Karbala. Bil khusus, Huzur, Sayyiduna Imam Hussein ibn Ali, radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma, Sayyidul Shuhada, Imam Ali Maqam, Nawasai Rasul, Nabi ka Nur Ain. Ya Allah, we ask you to continue to raise the darajat in the akhirah. Just as they make qurbaniya for the religion of the Nana Jan, by making the ultimate sacrifice on the Maidan of Karbala, allow us to also make qurbaniya for this religion as well. Ya Allah, we ask you that through the use of barakat, that the reward of this mahfil of majlis, we can make all the awliya, sufiya, ulama, mujtahideen, mufassirin, muhaddithin, aimai tariqat, aimai shariat, shuhadai ummat, sulahai ummat of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Khususan bil khusus, Ya Allah, those who are over the last several centuries have been on the front line defending Aqidah Khatmi Nubuwwat. Tajdar Golden Shrifi Sayyid Meher Ali Shahzad Rahmatullah Alayhi, Huzur Sayyidi Ala Hazrat Imam Ahl Sunnat Mujaddid Deen wa Millat Maulana Shah Ahmad Reza Khan Alayhi Rahmatullah Ridwan, Maulana Shah Ahmad Unani Siddiqui Rahmatullah Alayhi, Maulana Abdul Sattar Khan Niazi Rahmatullah Alayhi, Huzur Ghazali Doran, Hazrat Qibla Sayyid Saeed Asad Kazmi Rahmatullah Alayhi, और अमीरुल मुजाहिदीन फनाफी खातमिन नबीयीन हुजूर सईदी बाबा जी रहमतुल्लाह अलैह, और इसी तरीके से हमारे दादा उस्ताद जस्टिस पीर करम शाह अल-अज़हरी रहमतुल्लाह अलैह, who put the final nail in the coffin of the Qadian at Geneva in the 80s. Ya Allah, we ask of you, all of our kabirin who plays their part, raise all of their darajat, grant them all the highest maqam in Jannatul Firdaus. Ya Allah, let us play our part in defending Aqidah Khatmi Nubuwwat, in upholding the honor of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in defending the honor of the ashab and the al of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ya Allah, we ask of you, Hazreen and Mahfil Majlis, those who are shamil here, Buzurg, youngsters and elders, brothers and sisters, Ya Allah, we ask of you, who have lost their loved ones, parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, aunties and uncles, young and old, brothers and sisters, sons and daughters. Ya Allah, we make dua for each and every one of our loved ones who have left this dunya, raise all of their darajat in the akhirah. Grant them all the highest maqam in Jannatul Firdaus. Khususan at the reward of this mahfil of majlis, by way of Isa al-Thawab, be conveyed to our dear, beloved brother Muhsin Mami, who passed away yesterday. Ya Allah, we ask of you, raise her darajat in the akhirah. Grant her the highest maqam in Jannatul Firdaus. Allahumma aghfirha warhamha, waj'al qabraha rawbatan min riyadil jannah. Allahumma wassi qabraha hadd al-basar. Allahumma nawwir qabraha bi nur al-Quran, bi nur al-iman, bi nur al-Islam, bi wasilati sayyid al-kawnain. Ya Allah, we ask of you that unite the Muslim ummah upon the aqidah of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Unite us in the love and the adab of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the love and adab of the ashab and the al of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Awliya Kamili Pakani Ummat. Ya Allah, protect us from the fitna and the shararat of those individuals who go against the nazariyat, musallamat, i'tiqad of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Ya Allah, khas taur par protect our Nojawan Nasl from the Ghair Sunni Hazrat, the vultures as they have been referred to as. Ya Allah, we ask of you, keep us all firm upon the Sirat al-Mustaqim. Keep us firm upon Aqidah Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Ya Allah, we ask of you, accept this mahfil of majlis in your bargah. Jo bamar hain, unna ki shifa kamila ajla nafiya ata farma. Jo be-aulad hain, neko salih aulad ata farma. Jo sahib aulad hain, Ya Allah, make the children farma badar, make the children the coolness to their eyes. Ya Allah, we make dua for Maulana Hasnain, who night and day is doing khidmat here at this Lenten Muslim Center. Ya Allah, we ask of you, accept their khidmat in your bargah. Give them mazid tawfiq, Ya Allah, to continue doing the good work that they are doing. Young, dynamic, knowledgeable, English-speaking scholar, Ya Allah. The need of the time, Ya Allah, we ask of you that allow us to produce more scholars like them as well, to tackle the fitnas and the fitan of our time. Ya Allah, we ask of you, grant us all the tawfiq to do good and to stay away from bad. Akhri dua. Balki do dua. Those who contributed towards the food for the attendees, and Mohsin who's contributed towards this mahfil of majlis, Ya Allah, we make dua that accept the atiyat in your heart. Ya Allah, make Mohsin's rizq halal for him, make his rizq wasi for him, remove his difficulties and hardships for him, grant him all forms of happiness and success in the deen, in the dunya and in the akhirah as well. Sare jo shamil dua vich Ya Allah na ki dunya vich kamyabi ata farma, akhirat vich kamyabi ata farma. Aur aakhri dua, Muslims who are suffering around the world, in Syria, Burma, Yemen, Indian occupied Kashmir, Uyghur Muslims in China, those who are suffering in Palestine, whenever the ummatis are suffering, Ya Allah, we ask of you, remove their suffering for them, alleviate their difficulties and hardships for them. Ya Allah, we ask of you to create this ghairat within us, that whenever the honor of the Prophet ﷺ is compromised, that we uphold his honor without any compromise. Ya Allah, we ask of you, and that you accept this dua in your bargah. What we have asked for, grant us. What we couldn't ask for, grant us as well. سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير وصلى الله تعالى على حبيبه محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأهل بيته أجمعين. ارحمنا يا مولانا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. جزاكم الله خير وأحسن الجزاء في الدارين. زندگی تے پھر ملاقات ہوسی جدید انشاءاللہ اگلے جہان وچ. السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ.